Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The penultimate session for the day, and you all have been a very patient audience, and I hope till now, by the numbers that we see out here inside the room and outside as well, is the testimony that yes, all our speakers and whatever we have discussed has, I'm sure, must have added a lot of value to you. Today, I have a very special guest with us, and this small 15-20 minute fireside chat is about this brand. A great brand is associated with the following terms: reliability, trustworthiness, and customer loyalty. This brand is the epitome of these words, but also it is one of the most reputed brands in India. The name is Senco, and its director, Joita Sen, is one of the reasons why Senco is here where today. Apart from her husband and father-in-law, we are very happy to and excited to have this short fireside chat with her to discuss about Senco and the brand where it is here today. Thanks for joining Joita today.
Thank you, Dr. Bhatt, and especially for your very kind words and introduction.
Likewise, pleasure is mine. Thank you. So we'll start with a very, simple question, but very powerful one. From 3 stores in 1994, you are now having 130 showrooms across 13 Indian states. Can you share this success story with us, along with the history, Joita?
Yes. So it's a long story over 3-4 generations. So I'll start with my father-in-law, our late chairman, Sri Shankar Sen. So he inherited 3 showrooms from his father, and in 1994 he realized that from 3 different names, the Senco brand was there, but it was under 3 different names, and he realized that it had to come under one umbrella. So that's when he formed the company Senco Gold Private Limited, and that was the beginning of the organized, company that we see today. The systems, processes that we see, and very importantly, the brand. In those days, brand was not something that was recognized widely. So the concept of brand was started. He had brand ambassadors coming in and, being the face of the company. Then in those days, he introduced computer systems. Yes, so that was very important because he had a vision that he had to take this company forward. And the first step for that was to make it more organized, process driven, system driven by adding computers. And then we made our flagship store, Molali, which was the first ever on one floor, 8,000 square feet retail space.
Wow.
And yeah, and we started in Eastern India, diamonds were not so popular. So we started diamonds around that time. So the diversification of products started from that time. And in the late 1990s, the franchisee model was introduced by him, which has now become very widely popular today. And then in the early 2000s, my husband and me, we joined the business. And the first expansion started from 2010. And then the story goes on, and today we have 130 showrooms.
Story goes on, and this is just the beginning. So 2-3 things that we can decipher here from the history is that the great grandfather started with the processes, and your father-in-law also introduced computers and things like that. So that was the base for a foundation for a very, very strong brand, and also the pioneers to start the franchising system in jewelry, at least in East India. And that's where the Senco, the brand name, comes from. Joita, jewelry trends have seen a change in the past few years. Today, rather than a metal for special occasion, gold and diamonds are purchased as everyday workwear by the younger generation. Jewelers would not have done this unless they predicted a trend early on. What are your thoughts on this? Because the younger generation is like, it's a everyday workwear kind of a thing. Otherwise, we used to purchase it, and obviously even today, India more it's the marriage season, we can, or any such special occasion. But keeping this segment also, if you can throw some light here as well.
Yes. So when Shubhankar and I joined the company in early 2000, so we realized that there was a need to diversify our products, and the base and DNA of Senco Gold and Diamonds is making jewelry for everyone that fits every budget. So we thought that to take it to the next level, and in fact, it was a very interesting concept we introduced, which was called gossip.
Okay.
So the gossip is basically no jeweler wanted that in their store at that time. Frankly, they said, "What is Senco doing?" I think they've gone crazy. So we introduced lifestyle fashion jewelry, silver jewelry, and that is now today become so popular. And then afterwards, we launched our sub brand called Everlight a few years later, because we realized that when the young girls were coming with their parents, the parents were more interested in investing and buying little by little for their wedding. But they wanted, the fancy items. They wanted to wear something they can flaunt on a daily basis. And then they would often convince their parents, they would tell their mother, why don't you buy it? You can wear it and then I can also wear it. So that is how we noticed that this required us to have Everlight. And so that's how the everyday segment was born. And of course, I think Indian weddings are pretty grand. I mean, it's like the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Yeah. So the big fat Indian wedding. So that is never ever going to stop. So, but alongside that, this is parallelly a new kind of market which has, sort of developed. And we realized that in the early 2000s, and that's how we progressed.
So foresightedness, what Joita and Joita's husband had seen, that this is a trend that may come up and will come up. Although the other jewelers may have mocked at that time, but it was an imperative for all of them to follow what they did by getting these sub brands introduced. The name sub brand was
Gossip. And yes, and Gossip is now a very popular segment amongst, you see online every day, there is some new brand coming up. And so Gossip was born in the early 2000s.
Okay. Now let's move to, another question which is discussed almost every day, and that is related to online. We have seen a massive growth in the online jewelry market with brands which are offering discounts and other factors to lure younger audience. And you have seen this way back in 2000, what the younger audience wanted. Given that shift of retail to a more omni-channel mode, do you see this work in jewelry industry where gold buying is about seeing and feeling the metal? So how strong or how important this online stuff is today for this generation vis-a-vis seeing, touching, buying at the store?
Actually, that's a very good question, because the thing is that online is it's a very open kind of a market, and discount, I will not get into that because that is a separate category altogether. But you see, you have to move with the time, and website is something that every brand has nowadays. So we had launched that again in the early 2000s, and that gave birth to our online selling platform when it was at its very nascent stage. And coming back to your question about, online versus, touch and feel about jewelry. So online is a very limited ticket size. So you don't buy very expensive jewelry online. It's more like the everyday wear that you want to buy. And it's more like, oh, I see this, I like it, I want it to be delivered without taking the trouble of going somewhere. Then video calling to enhance that experience, where you can, avail that option and then see it over the video. During COVID, that actually was a different shift in model of business from a retail store to a virtual store. So that is again the digital platform, and retail is a retail therapy word for nothing. Window shopping is something we all women love to do. So we have to wear the jewelry, try it on, browse through the different collection, the different products, and then finally, decide what we want to buy. So that is again two different mindsets, and also two different budget sets also.
Okay. You spoke about two things, mindset and budget. So, in general, this is not only about Senco, but what's your experience? What should be the ticket size? I want to see here the cap that starting from 100 to X. This is the cap that in general the Indian consumer is willing to spend online, and after that they are going to go to the showroom and buy the jewelry. Any cap that up to this amount they are ready to buy online or something like that way?
So I will give an average ticket size.
Okay.
It is anything between 20 to 50,000.
Okay.
So that's a better way of saying it. Capping, I mean, if somebody wants to buy a 2
Yeah.
lakh, 3 lakhs, I mean, who's to stop them?
Stop
I mean,
them.
I certainly wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I can't give you the upper limit, but I can give you the
Average.
ticket size.
So average is around 30 to 50.
Yeah.
20 to 50.
20 to 50, yeah.
That's the average size that today's Indian consumer is buying jewelry online.
Yes.
And just imagine, friends, where it was, and we don't only have to blame or give credit or blame to 2020, but the phenomenon has started a couple of years back. But the Indian consumer has matured that today they are spending 50,000 rupees online for a jewelry item. First of all, 50,000 rupees. Second, a jewelry item. कपड़े होते तो चलो समझ में भी आता है, that's a completely different thing. But this is where the trend is going. And another one more area that I wanted to ask you about is where do you see this? If you ask the ratio wise, today the percentage, if you can give me today's average percentage industry wise, that today's youth is buying, let's say 10%, 20%, 30% online. I'm talking only about jewelry, and 70% is offline. Or what would be that percent? I'm not sure. So if you can give some estimates. Okay, today the youth is buying, X percentage online and then rest in store.
So, like I said, it's a mindset change which has happened. So, fashion is also very fast changing. I mean, in the last 10 years, every 6 months, a fashion is introduced. And lightweight jewelry is something that we see that online people are very comfortable to buy. So, if it's very difficult to give a percentage because, like I said, I mean, the web world is a very wide world. And so it depends. Like today, if I want to go to the store, I will pick up that same value item if I want to go for the retail experience. And today, if I find that, oh, I need something to wear for a daily basis, I'm attending meetings and I need to wear something nice, and but I don't have the time to go except on a Sunday, and maybe I'd rather do something, so it's convenient to buy it. So I'll say it's like a 50-50 or even, or maybe actually correctly 30-70.
Okay. Now, what are
Because
the...
India still has a lot of scope for digital footprints.
Still, I think we have not even touched or scratched the surface as far as jewelry is concerned. But if the average that Joita is talking about 20 to 50, then sky is the limit.
Yes.
So what are the trends that you predict when it comes to jewelry industry by 2030? So let's say half a decade or 7 years down the line, what would be the trends that you are predicting? And do you think that there will be a major shift in the way we buy jewelry? And how will the customer experience change? Now, this customer experience is a very important, word which is used, misused, abused, but still it is customer. You and me are customers. We all are customers. So we have spoken about it a lot, but what would you predict by 2030 where the Indian jewelry is going
So,
from a trend perspective.
yes, from a trend perspective, I will tell you that seamless experience, customer convenience, artificial intelligence are the three key words that play a big role in the digital world today. And I'll just talk about which is now a very basic feature. You buy a jewelry, you try it on. You don't even have to go, to the showroom to see how it's looking. For online purchases, I'm saying. So you're sitting there and you're clicking a button and, oh, I like this earring, and then you're wearing it virtually. So that is part of the trend, which is very nascent stage, and artificial intelligence is developing in such a way that in the next 2 to 3 years, I mean, the whole retail experience online is going to completely change. This is just very basic. There are things that are being worked upon that is going to completely change the game of the retail experiences online.
See, here it comes, the artificial intelligence, the augmented reality, and the technology that is currently also available is going to completely change by 2030s, because this question was more related to 2037 years down the line. But in couple of years only, as Joita is talking and telling her forecasting, that it's going to completely change. And we'll wait and watch. We'll meet here regularly, obviously every year, to check where it's going.
And then also more digital thing like the apps. I mean, no traditional product like jewelry you think will become app based, but that is how it is.
Jewelry becoming app based.
Yes.
अभी ज्वेलरी को भी हमने नहीं छोड़ा, but yes, that's the way it is. Any example you want to share something?
Yes, that the entire catalog of jewelry is available in the app. So you have a virtual store right there in your app. And other than that, I mean, there are additional customer experience features which are there. For example, like we have our My Digi Gold, which is app based, as well as it has a portal where buying and selling of gold, there are many platforms. But the additional thing is you save that gold, and then your ID is created. So you're saving it, you come to the store or online, and you can, redeem it and buy a jewelry. Then also the customer experiences which you get in the store, like points and all those benefits, that are also available online. So yeah, so the integration of also the way the banks and everything, the way they are changing, scanning QR codes and integrating apps with different kind of products. So that makes the shopping experience extremely convenient digitally. So that's also another change we see in a very traditional business like jewelry.
Okay, I would like to ask the final question. Diamonds are a woman's best friend. So this final question is: in today's world, we say less is more. What do you say about jewelry? Because this is directly related to your business. It's not that way. But will we move away from heavy jewelry? What is the trend that you are? Because I was very curious to ask this question. That less is more, and minimalistic life, minimization, all these are the new trends that are coming up across the globe. Then it's almost antithesis of jewelry. So what do you see, less is more, about this trend? Sorry to ask this question, but
no, see, firstly, you're asking a lady question, less is more, okay? And that too about jewelry. I don't think that's ever going to happen. So less is more, yes. I mean, like you said, diamonds firstly is a girl's best friend because we just love to flaunt our diamonds. So when you're wearing a diamond, it is of course more. It's never less.
Yes.
And as for, like we love our weddings, we love our functions, we love dressing up. I don't think that's going to change in the next 10, 12 years. I don't think it's going to change in the next 2 generations.
Yes.
So I think parallelly, on a serious note, parallelly two kind of products are going to exist. One is the more everyday, and even that segment is also changing because it's no longer traditional, typical designs. So we used to always associate, fashion trends with silver jewelry, lifestyle jewelry, but that's not the case anymore. I mean, diamond, platinum, gold, I mean, people are experimenting. The colors of the gold, rose gold is trending. Someday, like white gold will trend. So fashion is being included in these categories, and people are very interested to buy these for a day-to-day wear. They're wearing it to parties. It's no longer buy the jewelry and keep it in the locker. So you're wearing it every day, and at the same time, you want to always be glamorous and look good on the day of your wedding. So it's like two parallel. Yeah.
Understood. So
less is less is never a question for women.
less is never a question for women, and so is for jewelry. The mode of purchase or the customer journey may change, but ultimately the jewelry is going to be sold. Is what Joita is telling firmly, and because diamonds and jewelry are women's best friend. With this, Joita, thank you very much for coming today and sharing this short
Thank you so much.
fireside chat with us, and hope to see you in the future as well. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me today.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone.